Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier doing something a little different today. It's a restaurant review. It's kind of a tribute video of sorts, and it's also just some thoughts, okay? Thoughts on the wonderful world of Chinese buffets, perhaps all buffets in general, but the restaurant review portion of our video here is I went to this Chows Country Buffet. It's been in business, I want to say, a little less than a year here in Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville's the first major city in Florida as you come over the state line from Georgia. There is a joke in Florida. People have asked me about this because they thought it was serious, that as you go further south in the state of Florida, the cities become more northern. And it's not a geographical thing. It's a joke, meaning that the top of the state, namely where I'm at, is like the redneckiest or the southernest or whatever you want to call it. And if you go to wonderful places like Miami and Sarasota on the southern part of the state, it's more acclimated to society or more hip and modern, or LeBron James is smoking a cigar on the street or whatever the fuck. But in any event, I like Jacksonville. It's fine for me. And this wonderful restaurant took the place of a place I did go to probably more often than I should have. It was the Golden Corral Buffet. So I went there several times, and the Golden Corral Buffet, that's a chain you've probably seen. Maybe you've gone to, maybe you haven't. I think is Golden Corral the one that's known. Is that the buffet that's known for like the dripping chocolate? I think they kind of phased that out during the pandemic, but they used to have like the dripping chocolate you could stick your fucking strawberries in, or you'd see children like sticking their goddamn finger in there. So you're like, I don't want to eat that dripping chocolate. I don't think this buffet, when it was a Golden Corral, even had that option, at least not when I attended. And for whatever reason, that Golden Corral went out of business, and it took, I want to say, 4 or 5 months, maybe even longer, for this Mr. Chow's, country buffet to take over the joint. I think it's a one of a kinder. I haven't met Mr. Chow, but I'm sure he's a nice gentleman based on his buffet. And, it's more or less the same clientele. When I started going to buffets, I really started going to buffets in college. There was a bunch of gentlemen that I would hang out with, and we found this buffet. It was like a southern buffet of sorts. And I think, we jokingly go in there and eat, and we call ourselves a gentleman's club. There was like 5 or 6 of us, angry 18 to 20-year-old gentlemen going to buffets with each other. And one of the gentlemen, a guy named, his nickname was Moose, he referred to some of the other patrons as professional eaters, which I like that term. I give him credit for that. He was a big guy himself, as I was and still am. So he said it in a good-natured fashion, but he kind of dubbed some of the buffet eaters professional eaters. And when you do go to buffets, if you do go, it is part of the fun. It's part of the fun to, as a big person myself and other big people, you don't feel quite as bad about yourself because, suddenly I'm mid-sized in there. I'm kind of agile and deft. I'm kind of working the system, negotiating the crosswalks, and you see other people that are kind of larger, and I do lift weights and so forth, but you see these people that, they're in pretty rough shape, and I don't want to make fun, but I'll make fun. I mean, they're trying, but that's when you see the professional eaters come out. So if you are a heavy person, oddly enough, the buffet is probably not good for your health. But your self-esteem might improve because, you see that there's people in worse shape than yourself. So that's an upside. As a side note, and I'm really going to go down the path here, folks. I'm going to take on some subject matters that might be offensive and may not. When I was in high school, me and my little pack of friends, we would go to hockey games. We'd go to, Harlem Globetrotters games. We'd go to professional wrestling shows. We'd go to movies quite a bit. And between me and one of our other buddies, I think it was actually me, to be honest, but we came up with this thing of pointing out the heaviest person in the crowd, like the person that was the heaviest. I mean, I'm telling you, we're going down some dark roads here tonight, folks. And basically just kind of like, we wouldn't talk to them, we wouldn't like point at them, but we'd all like have our eyes out for that, what we call the FFIA, the fattest fan in attendance. And we just kind of like see who could find the person in the crowd or the audience of whatever event we were in that was the heaviest or the most out of shape, probably the best way to put it. And folks, guess what? You know, I'll be honest with you. There's been times when I've been the most out of shape person in the room. There's been times when I've been the best in shape in the room. I mean, you know, that's America for you. That's America. So the FFIA, if you're looking for something to do to break up your time, you can share this with your friends, your relatives. Make sure they all subscribe to One Mike Messier and give me credit. But the fattest fan in attendance game, you can do that with just about anything. I mean, you could say the prettiest fan in attendance, or the ugliest fan in attendance, or the tallest, or the shortest. You could do so many things with this, but the FFIA is really the core of the game. In my opinion, you can say like, who's got the most tattoos? Like, if you want to be fucking politically goddamned correct, you could cover every spectrum of the asshole on this thing. But the old school Northern Virginia suburban thing that we did was FFIA, fattest fan in attendance. Going back to the buffet memories, I do have this very haunting memory from those early college buffet days. This was in Greensboro, North Carolina. It's crazy because I was in a bar here in Jacksonville a few nights ago. I won't name them, but people were openly smoking cigarettes inside the bar. I was shocked. I went to, what's that state? One of those southern states, it was like Mississippi or some such thing. And last summer, and people like all over the town were smoking indoors, which was shocking because where I've lived, you know, smoking indoors has been banned for decades. So it's just interesting that not all places are the same, folks. So what was I saying? Okay, so I go to this, you know, buffet as an 18-year-old kid, and I go in there and like everyone's having a good time. And there was this family that was kind of celebrating the fact that somebody had just had a baby, and they had the baby in the restaurant with them. And it was really like a newborn child. And the child was kind of sitting in their little baby chair or whatever the fuck, being babyish. And all the adults in this conglomerate, this family, were standing over the baby kind of ka-chewing and hi. And there were 3 or 4 of them were all fucking smoking cigarettes, like basically in the direction of this infant. And I was really conflicted because a good portion of me was repelled and disgusted. How can you blow smoke in this infant's face? And I really did feel like saying something. But, you know, an 18-year-old kid approaching these people that were, however old they were, their 30s, their 40s, who knows? I was obviously had no backup. No one's going to back me up on this thing. I don't know these people. These are strangers. It is the South. You don't know who's packing. And so I really felt very conflicted and just angry. And I think I was also angry at myself because I didn't know how to handle the situation, because to me it's so goddamn obvious. You have this infant, you don't lean over the fucking baby with your goddamn cigarette in your fucking mouth and blow nicotine puffs into this infant. You don't do that. But I mean, who am I to tell these asshole adults what to do? Luckily enough, you know, all these years later, we have YouTube, so I can bitch about it. But it was one of those defining moments in my life where I see a criminal act, a disgusting behavior, and I want to say something, but I have this fear, and I don't know what the fear was. I mean, there's several of them. I don't know if any of them would assault me or say, "Hey, asshole, mind your own business." But I mean, that's the society we live in. I mean, I'm always finding myself in these situations where I'm the bodyguard, I'm the big brother, I'm the one trying to solve equations, I'm the one trying to progress society, and people are just blowing cigarette smoke into infants' faces. So, damn you, society. I tried my best. What else? I do, you know, part of the reason for me to do this video, fine folks, unfortunately, very few of you would know this. A good friend of mine passed away this March, probably for several of my years of teens, childhood, adulthood, probably, definitely my best friend for several of those years. You know how it is with friends. Like some years you're pretty tight, some years you're not. But this guy and I had a lot of good years, a lot of big memories. And unfortunately, he passed away in March at a young age, and very shocking. And the reverberations are still being felt, quite honestly. And today, as I was going into the buffet, I kind of say, like, why do I want to go to a buffet today? Like, I've been really kind of avoiding the buffets. I haven't been going to McDonald's. I haven't gone to McDonald's since Thanksgiving of 2023. This is June of 2024. The last time I went to a McDonald's, it was a shit show. They were like really fucking up all the orders. I paid $7. I didn't get any food, and I just left in a huff. I actually called McDonald's to complain. They never took care of me, so I haven't gone back to a McDonald's since. I've avoided a lot of pizza, and I've cut back on my sugar intake and so forth. But for whatever the fuck reason, today I just said the buffet was calling me. I felt the need for a big meal. I haven't been big mealing it. I've been, sandwiching and small mealing it. But I said, I need to fuel up. I'm a camel that needs to be fed. Like, today is my day. And I needed some vegetables. I needed some waitress service. I needed the whole 9 fucking yards. So I came to the buffet. And as I'm walking in, I noticed this shirt that I'm wearing. I'm not the biggest tie-dye guy. I mean, I've had maybe 3 or 4 tie-dye shirts in my life. And then I just realized my buddy who passed away, he had a couple of years where he was really wearing tie-dye, like quite a bit. Like this would be pretty much an approximate shirt to what he would wear. And I was like, fuck. Like, I think I'm having like a tribute meal for my pal. Unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond everybody's control, they being, family, friends, have not had a service memorial quite yet for my buddy. Hopefully that'll happen soon. But I said, well, I guess this is like my private memorial, you know what I mean, in a way, because I kind of feel like I'm carrying the cloth of my pal. And and it kind of goes back to me and my buddy when we had our real strong years of friendship. We would occasionally we would go to buffets quite a bit, actually, because we were both tipping in probably at that time in the 275 to 295, both over 6 feet tall, both young men in our late teens, early 20s. And my friend, I think, came up with this one, or maybe it was a conglomerate, but I'll give him credit. I think he came up with like the idea of like a couple of superheroes, basically Fat Man and Buffet Boy. And like they would go into the buffets and like, Fat Man instead of Batman. And like if there was any trouble in the buffet, like if the buffet was being held up by terrorists or whatever, Fat Man would like swoop in and hit him with a plate. And then Buffet Boy would kind of like come in with a fork and jab him in the eye. And it was just fun. You know what I mean? So I felt like this was a little bit of a reunion of sorts of Fat Man and Buffet Boy. I think I was actually Buffet Boy, and my buddy was the self-described Fat Man. And it was just a funny thing that I think we talked about, never executed it. I mean, if you steal this idea, give me credit and my buddy. So whatever the fuck. What else happened? In this, and here's the funny thing. I tipped well today. The the gentleman who like let me in, the host guy was a host. Normally, I guess like everyone else, I prefer a hostess. No offense. I prefer a waitress. I prefer a hostess. No offense to the waiters and the hosts of the world. I do prefer the feminine touch. However, in a buffet scenario, you're not going to have like your libido on. You're not going to have your fucking swag on going to the buffet. I feel, at least, maybe others don't, there's a level of shame in going to the buffet. There's a level of self-ridicule. What am I doing with my life? And you know what I mean? Like, to me, that exists. I don't know if other people share that. I kind of feel that they don't. There was no music in this location. Mr. Chows does not have music. I do kind of like music when I eat. However, as I'm getting older, I realize like music's one of the fucking most personal things, and I can understand why it seems like a growing amount of places are reluctant to play overhead music, because whatever you play is going to offend someone, or someone's not going to like it, or they're going to request something else. You know what I mean? And who's to say? I mean, the world is so divided now. I was trying to think of a recording artist that everybody could agree on, and I came up with the Pointer Sisters. I don't know why. I mean, I think the Pointer Sisters said, like, I'm so excited. And did they do It's Raining Men, or was that somebody else? But I mean, I just think the Pointer Sisters, if we just played the Pointer Sisters in every buffet in the country, we might have world peace before you know it. But I'm sitting here, it's a dim, I'm alone. I brought like a stack of I brought my fucking headphones so I can listen to a podcast. I brought my goddamn script so I can, like I brought all these orchestrations to like hide the fact that I don't have any goddamn friends with me. But at the same time, I just want to eat and get the fuck out of there. And I'm also kind of telling myself the secrets to the buffet, in my opinion, at least for me, a three plate maximum, 2 plates of food, 1 plate of dessert. I got unsweetened iced tea, so no sugar. Oddly enough, the lady kind of insisted that she give me like coffee, and like I was like, why would I want fucking coffee? But she gave me this hot coffee. It's 90 fucking 2 degrees, and she gives me a black coffee, and she kind of like almost insisted. I think it's like a nice chaser for all the food. And then like I gave her a huge tip. The bill was only $16.10, and I'm like, I'm gonna make this woman's life. I know some people in here, some of these professional eaters are not giving this lady a good tip. I left her $3.90, people, probably 24%. I left her a huge tip. She got me a nice hot coffee. Then I'm like sipping it, and then when she sees the amount of tip I've given her, she's like, you want another coffee? And I'm like, nah, I'm leaving. And then she comes and gets the coffee for me anyway. And then I'm like, and then I'm like, I'll take a sip. And she had like the real cup. And then she's like, I'll give it a to-go cup. So in honor of her, this is how I like my coffee. Black, bitter, and wet. Just like my coffee. So the other thing with the buffet, I think it's a little bit overlooked. I always go in there with the projection, the prediction, the battle plan of having dessert. I think the buffet dessert's kind of the funnest thing about the whole buffet scenario. And in this location, if you've been to any Chinese buffet in the country, at least on the East Coast, you see that they all have like very similar desserts. They have like those fucking cakes that are all like small and cut up little tiny pieces, and like the little pastries, and like like the whatever the fucks. I mean, just there's like this like stock stuff that all these Chinese buffets have. This place had different stuff. They had like chocolate ice cream cups and vanilla and orange sorbet. I mean, it was exciting. They had like, the apple pie. I did not have any. I figured like the apple pie, that's like a lot of corn syrup in that right away. But I was quite happy that they had all these options for me. So you got to plan on dessert. There was in this buffet a lot of shrimp. My sister actually enjoys fried shrimp quite a bit, or any type of shrimp. My thing with shrimp is I like fried shrimp with cocktail sauce. And that's like a hard thing to pull off. Like a lot of fucking places, for whatever the fuck goddamn reason, they'll give you the shrimp cocktail, like the cold fucking shrimp, and they'll give you the cocktail sauce for that. But they won't give you like fried shrimp with cocktail sauce, which is just as important to me. So this place had like many variations of shrimp. I also indulged in, like the pork things with the fucking ravioli, the dumplings. The dumplings has always been a family favorite for me and my kin. What else? I thought it was good. I mean, like, sausage. There was fucking sausage. A lot of chicken dishes. When I say chicken, there's like the Chinese chicken, like the fucking honey chicken. And you gotta like watch these levels, because there's a lot of corn syrup and a lot of sugar in these sauces and stuff. I mean, I don't need to lecture you. You're doing quite well with your weight. Congratulations. But, for the rest of us, but like baked chicken never tastes as good as like the fucking honey and the orange and all this crap. So you just got to kind of monitor things. the chow mei fun or whatever the fuck's like the noodles. It's very exciting. But the key is, like I said, go at a nice leisurely pace. Don't feel like you're in a competition. You're never going to win. I mean, like I said, these are professional eaters you're up against. If anything, consider yourself like a spectator contestant. Like, okay, I'm like the amateur who's running the Boston Marathon. I'm really just here to get autographs. I have no intention of winning. Hopefully there won't be a fucking attack at the end of the race. Okay, Boston Strong hashtag. But you just want to sit there and kind of like cheer on the real competitors and just allow them to compete at the highest of levels and just be happy that you're like there. You know what I mean? So once you kind of take that, like, I don't need to beat these people, they're going to win anyway. It's fine. Like I said, the unsweet, I mean, because I think a lot of people go in there, this buffet, they think, fuck it, I'm eating all this shit anyway. I might as well get the Coke. I might as well get the Pepsi, the orange drink. Like I said, I stick to the unsweetened iced tea and this fucking pitch black fucking hot coffee. Oh my God. So I feel like, at least on the beverage end, I'm doing okay. I didn't have water, which was interesting, because typically I'm a big water drinker. I will say this, a knock against Jacksonville, the water here tastes, in my opinion, a little sulfury. And like, what the fuck would sulfur taste like? Like the water in Jacksonville. But like, ever since I moved to Jacksonville and Florida in general, there's like a certain aroma to the water, and it's unusual and not in a good way. So I did not drink the water. I had the unsweetened iced tea, which I suppose has the water in it anyway. What else? It was good. I mean, the shrimp, everything was fine. The service, like this was an interesting aspect. I'm sitting there. I told the gentleman, the host, I want to, can I have a corner seat? And the guy like really set me up. He gave me the perfect booth in a corner. And the reason for that is I don't like to sit with my back against a back bearing, and some other asshole has their back against the opposite side of the back bearing. To me, that's like bamboo shoots underneath the fingernails. Like, that's torture. I hate it. And I recently experienced that in this wonderful restaurant I went to a few weeks ago. And I really should have said, like, can you, because me and this other person were sitting there first, and then they put like a party of 5 behind me, and like 3 assholes are sitting with their backs against my back bearing, and I'm just in hell. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? And because there was empty booths around. But like, at that point, I can't really say, hey, we've been here for half an hour. Can we move? And I can't say, hey, can you move this fucking bunch of people somewhere else? Because I don't want their backs against mine. So I just don't like, I mean, you really have to be on your fucking game at all times, folks. If you have seating preferences, if you're like me, and you're a bit high maintenance, high strung, you have to dictate from the get-go. You can't allow these things to go down the path that you don't want them to and then try to change it. You have to assert yourself from the beginning. So I'm glad I did that. And this host gentleman, for whatever it's worth, not female, but he was accommodating to my needs. What else? I took my hat off in the buffet. Like, I mean, that was like a thing my dad would do, like, take your hat off, it's like, okay. But I also like wore my American flag hat, because I'm like, I'm going to expose myself. I'm the mark. I'm the American. I'm the one, trying not to get fucking diabetes or high blood pressure. Please don't poison me. And there is kind of a funny little running joke, I think. I mean, can we be honest? Like, with Americans, like, hey, are they trying to fattening us up for slaughter? Like, are they just kind of like giving us the honey chicken and the chocolate and the chocolate drippings, and like, are they just trying to chubby us up so when they slice open our fucking bellies, they can have more food? Like, what's going on here? Are we being, bred for feeding? You know what I mean? We'll make great pets, Perry Farrell, okay? So I don't know. It's just one of those things where, yes, it's comedy. Yes, I know Mr. Chow and Associates are hardworking people. And these are just my humorous little thoughts. I don't really think that. So it's just fun. You just have a good laugh. You go, you enjoy watching the professional eaters professionally eat. You try to stay in your weight class. Like, I go in there, I'm about 283, 284 today, which is good for me. But I don't want to like get up to 290 by the end of the day. Like, I want to stay in my class, so to speak. So keep that in mind. Here's the funny thing, amongst all these funny things. Towards the end of the meal, I'm like, doing my dessert plate. And it's not just like one little dessert, okay? If you're going to be there, be there. If you're going to live, live. So I've got the goddamn 2 little chocolate ice cream cups. I'm putting like little samplings of chocolate pudding and banana, whatever the fuck. I wish it was banana Foster. It wasn't. It was just some banana pudding, whatever the fuck. And then I'm like, oh, well, this will be healthy. Then I'm like taking a fucking like 3 pieces of pineapple and a piece of cantaloupe and that fucking mango or whatever the fuck, like the kind of like orangey thing. And I'm like, well, this, I'll be fine. Like, between this and the black coffee and the unsweetened iced tea, I'm making healthy choices. Like, never mind like the honey chicken and the chocolate drippings and all this other horse shit I've fed into myself for the last 45 minutes. The fact that I'm having 3 slices of pineapple and 1 slice of cantaloupe, it's averaging out. Like, this is now a healthy meal. I mean, these are the lies we tell ourselves. So anyway, and then, oh yeah, I keep forgetting. I'm sitting down in my nice corner seat. I'm there for maybe 6 minutes. I'm just getting started. And like, have you ever heard of Billy Crystal? Okay, by the way, he was this comedian that was once famous. So Billy Crystal would always like do these impersonations of his family or like old Yiddish couples like arguing. He would always have like those characters at his fingertips. Like, if you saw The Princess Bride, have fun storming the castle. Like, basically like a couple from the childhood of Billy Crystal comes in. They're from the old country, whatever old country that is, and they're just like yapping at each other. And like, they're like little people, they're like, maybe 5'4" each. And the wife is just bitching because she doesn't have a glass of water. And someone's pulled her string. So every complaint she's had, since the week began is coming out to the surface. And the husband's just trying to eat his goddamn fried shrimp and his chocolate drippings and his slices of pineapple. And I'm just sitting there like, this is torture. Like, I feel like I'm being tortured listening to this gentleman listen to his wife. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of funny. What else? There was almost a slip. I mean, there was a wet spot, so to speak, on the floor. Someone must have dropped a glass of water, some other type of slippery beverage, because as I'm like trying to like go out of there and get to my dessert plate activity, a gentleman like almost did a slip and slide. And then I don't know if this lady like helped him or she just like advised him like, hey, don't slip. And the guy was able to catch like a fucking chair or something and not fall. And then he thanked the lady. And then I just thanked the lady too. Because I'm like, as long as we're thanking ladies, I should thank the lady. Why not? Sense of community. So anyway, folks, if you happen to be in the neighborhood, Mr. Chows Country Buffet, I would say that as far as like $16.10, all this excitement, all this entertainment, all this human activity, I could have eaten more. I could still be in there right now, to tell you the truth, and Mr. Chow would have no issue with that. Really nice place. I do feel like it's basically a full star better than what it used to be when it was the standard, whatever the fuck, whatever the fuck it was. It's a full star better. So if you're in town, I would say pound for pound, dollar for dollar, with all the places going up with their money and the people, 25% tip, here you go, fuck you. This place is pretty good. You can go to MikeMessier.com if so desired. You can click on all my wonderful links. You can purchase my wonderful books. You can purchase my art. You can subscribe to One Mike Messier here. You can go to One Artist Mike Messier for my wonderful acrylic art. You can do all these wonderful things. You can go to One Man in a Camera Films to see my films. And you can do all that stuff. I mean, these are all options for you, which you should do every single one. And, when you're having a buffet, think about Fat Man and Buffet Boy will be your guardian constellations in the sky looking out for you. My buddy in the heavens and me on earth, carrying the torch for the happy buffet eaters of the world. Mike Messier.